So I went to the biggest car dealership in the state and walked in. I didn't want to sell one. I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm going to figure out who their best two guys are. I'm going to follow them around with a notepad. They'll have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. They'll think I'm some idiot. And I'm just going to study them. So I studied them for 60 days. Didn't sell a car.
You didn't work there. You were just or you did work there.
I was an employee. They probably wanted to fire me because I didn't give a shit about selling a car. I just watched how they talked to people, what they said to people, everything they did.
Yeah.
And what I did was, so right then I left there, went to Quality Dodge out in Tooele. And I want to go back to my hometown. And I took Quality Dodge to, we was the #1 Dodge dealership in the Western United States.
I know you're fucking successful, right? I mean, Pure Water Solutions of America, right? Biggest water company in the world. I actually thought it was the US. The fact you just told me it's the world, like that's unbelievable, right? So when I have people on this podcast, I want to know, dude, how the hell did you get to this point? Like, where did you come from? What made you who you are? Because I don't like to talk to people about like, hey, what do you like? You know, tell me about yourself. Oh, you know, like I definitely like red, you know, or whatever. Dude, what made you who you are, right? To be at the point where you're here today. What's your story, man? How'd you end up here?
Well, it depends on how far back you want to go.
Go as far back as you can, man. Talk to us. What's the story of Ryan Bowen?
So I was born and raised in a small town, Tooele, Utah.
Yeah, it's a small town.
And father actually passed away when I was 1.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
And so I was raised by a single mother, and she's absolutely amazing. That's why it was so hard for me to ever get married. That's why I still have a girlfriend to this day, but she's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But no one could ever top my mother. She was just unreal. So she raised 7 kids on her own.
Wow.
And she would type the newspaper in the middle of the night because she had to raise us during the day.
Wow.
And she would type the newspaper. I don't know how she did it.
Yeah.
And we were raised very, very poor. And so I had to fight for food, and brothers and sisters, I can beat them up.
Yeah.
I can beat them all up now, by the way. But when I was about 12, 13, I finally was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
So at the age of 12, I started doing different things, started wholesaling cars at the driveway.
Wait. You were 12?
12 years old. Okay. And then mom had no money, but I says, Mom, please buy that car right there for $100. If you buy it for $100, I'll make you back $500 within a couple days. So we'd buy it for $100. I'd spray paint the rims. I'd tint the windows myself. We'd sell it for $500. We'd go buy 2 cars. We'd go buy 3 cars. And so I started doing that. And
You're 12?
12 years old. Couldn't drive them, but they could sit in the driveway.
Okay.
So before I was ever 16, I owned over 100 vehicles. But my first car I claim that I really owned, was mine, at age 16, I bought a 69 Bronco.
Ooh.
That's why I like my Bronco so much.
Oh, yeah.
So, and this one's identical. So
Is it?
Yeah, I bought a 69 Bronco.
Ooh,
and that was my high school car. That was when we took up the canyons every day at lunch.
Yeah.
It was the one all the girls piled into, and the guys too. But it was the car. It was the funnest car. So.
Okay. All right. Holy shit. Okay. Can I back up here? You're 12. At 16, you own over 100 cars.
I had sold over 100 cars.
All right. You'd sold over 100 cars. Dude, how did that even come about? Like, where did that even come from? Because I know for a fact when I was 12, I wasn't thinking about flipping a car, man. Like, where did you get that idea?
It came from being poor as shit and just knowing. I think we're born with sales skills. Interesting. Like, sales-wise, there's good salespeople out there. Yeah. And there's Ryan Bowen. I'm the fucking best. So I think you're born with that. Yeah. And I've tried to teach other salespeople. I'm like, how are you not getting this? Yeah. But I think it's something you're born with. I think God put Ryan Bowen here to sell and to give. Yeah. And so I'm definitely a giver. So yeah, there's no question about that. I've seen it firsthand of how much you've given back to community and given back to help people. You know, there's no question about that. So then you go 16. So then what happens from there? So at 16, I still continue to sell cars, do different things. Cars has been a big part of your life. Cars has always been a huge part of my life. Okay, gotcha. I actually sold some drugs. I've never really told a lot of people that. I didn't know that. From age 12 to around 17. So you're a mixture of just trying to do anything you can to make some money. I wanted to do whatever it took to make money. To honestly eat food. But right? And you know what? The selling drugs and the selling cars, probably drugs. Okay. Yeah. Selling drugs actually got me to it teaches you the skills, right? So I'd go buy 10 pounds of weed. I would break those down to ounces, and you couldn't buy from me unless you wanted to buy at least an ounce. If you wanted to buy less than that, you'd have to go to my people. So it's the exact same thing I do with water. Yeah. With water, I go buy containers of water coolers, right? Yeah. If you want to buy from me, you got to buy in bulk. Yeah. Otherwise, you buy from my salespeople. Yeah. And they break them down to a lot less. And then we lease them to you. With drugs, we get you hooked on something you want. Yeah. on water, we get you hooked on something you need.
Yeah.
If you don't drink water, you die.
Yeah.
And so I have always the goods.
Yeah.
But then at age 18, I know we're skipping around, but at age 18,
No, this is
I
good.
actually had a child. I had a child on the way.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, there's no way I could ever sell drugs or touch drugs again because I want to be a dad.
So that's rare for you to just be able to drop it just like that.
I don't get how people get addicted to this shit.
Really? Okay.
Because
it's a big problem though.
Yeah, 12 to 18, I tried every drug out there. And the minute I was done, it was pretty fucking simple. I don't get how people get addicted to that shit.
What? That's like, it's the most addictive thing in the world. We're talking about what people, like millions of people struggle with. What made it so easy for you to drop something like
I think life is mental. Everything's mental. If you want something, you fucking go get it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, if I sell drugs more, I'll probably end up being in prison.
Yeah.
I won't be able to be a dad. I want to be a fucking dad. So that day when I found out I was having a child, I dropped it. Never touched it or sold it again.
Wow. That is extremely
It was
rare.
that simple.
Yeah.
And then, but with cars, they're legal.
Yeah.
And so once I hit 18, I was legal. You can't sell cars legally at a dealership until you're 18 in the state of Utah. And so what I did at 18 was I thought, okay, I know how to sell cars. I think I'm the best ever in the world at the way I've done it.
Yeah.
But I want to do this in a bigger scale for a dealership. So I went to the biggest car dealership in the state and walked in. I didn't want to sell one. I wanted to learn. So I thought I'm going to figure out who their best two guys are. I'm going to follow them around with a notepad. They'll have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. They'll just think I'm some idiot. And I'm just going to study them. So I studied them for 60 days. Didn't sell a car.
You didn't work there. You were just or you did work there.
No,
you
I
were
was
just
an
following.
employee. They probably wanted to fire me because I didn't give a shit about
You
selling a
didn't do
car.
it.
I just watched how they talked to people, what they said to people, everything they did.
Yeah.
And what I did was, so right then I left there, went to Quality Dodge out in Tooele, and I want to go back to my hometown. And I took Quality Dodge to, we was the #1 Dodge dealership in the Western United States in the first probably 6 months.
What?
So most people was averaging 11 to 13 cars. I myself was selling 60 to 70 because
Like what, a month? Or?
Yeah, a month.
Holy shit.
But our dealership was selling like 300 to 500 a month, and we was in Little Tooele.
Yeah.
But I knew how to do things a lot faster.
Right.
And so we was running ads, doing all the right stuff, advertising.
Yeah.
We was having people fly into Salt Lake International Airport, grab their truck from all over the Western United States, grab their truck, and they'd drive it home. But we were saving them so much money because we cared about selling fast and in bulk. And so we just fucking crushed it with that.
Were you an owner of this dealership at the time? You were basically just running the sales.
I was a sales guy, and I was the general sales manager within the first year. So at 19, I'm the general sales manager of the largest Dodge dealership in the Western United States.
Jeez, what the fuck?
It was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then what happened with that was, so then my child, he finally gets here about 19, and I was doing it for a minute.
Yeah.
But I didn't know my kid.
Yeah.
Because I was
working so long.
Yeah, I'm going from, we open at 9. I got there at 7 in the morning because I had to be #1. We close at 9. I leave. I'm there till 11. On Sundays, I'm hiding in the fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to sell a car on Sunday in Utah. So I'm hiding in the lot, and then anyone would walk by, hey, I'm just stopping by today. I wasn't because I was there anyways. And I would go talk to them, and then I'd get them. I'd say, let me open the car up. You can't drive it. Let me open it at least.
Yeah.
So Monday was always our biggest day because everyone goes and shops on Sunday because they don't want to deal with sales guys.
Yeah.
So I would just act like
Wait, is it actually like a rule or a law that you can't buy a car on Sunday?
I know for years it was. I don't know if it is now, but back then you could not be open on Sunday.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So right. So you're okay. What made you so competitive? Because honestly, like I believe in competition. I believe people should be competitive, right?
Yes.
That's how my father raised me. And I'm listening to your story. My father, like they ate potatoes for dinner because that's what they could afford, right? His mom
in Idaho.
He lost.
Are you from Idaho?
Well, it's here in Utah.
Okay.
But that's all they could afford, right? Because he lost his dad, at a young age as well. And so he lived a life where he had no money. And you know what it drove him, and that's this. I'm listening to you, and I'm hearing this. It sounds a lot like my dad because my dad's one of the most competitive dudes I've ever met, and he's instilled that in me. He says, "You better compete, right? You got to compete, right?"
Yeah.
And he ended up, playing football at BYU and all this stuff. In his life, he loves competing, loves sports. That's like a big thing in his life. And I'm listening to you, and you're a competitor, dude, right? You're already talking about how you're like, you're pushing yourself to be #1. You wanted to be #1, like. Why? I want to hear your thoughts. Like, why do you think you were so competitive so early?
Well, there's no #2. I mean, bottom line is we choose.
Yeah.
Every fucking second of every day matters.
Yeah.
And I will never be #2
Why?
So everything I don't know. 'Cause I don't deserve that shit. I deserve number one. I will do what it takes. I will outwork anyone in the fucking world to make sure I'm number one at everything I touch.
Yeah. Dude, don't you? Okay, I'm sure you've heard stories of people who, didn't have parents growing up. And so then they took a dark path or a lazy path, and they use it as a crutch for the rest of their lives. You turn around and use this as fuel for you to just push for the best you could be, right? Was there ever a moment in your life where there was a switch that happened, or was that just something you've always had? And if you were to give advice to somebody else, like, what would you tell them? Because they might be using something like that in their life as a crutch. Because I talk to people all the time. Yeah. They have dark stories, or they didn't have parents or something like that. Yeah. And they use it as an excuse of why they can't perform. Here you are telling me that it's never been a thought of like why I can't perform. You've been saying, I'm going to be number one no matter what. Yeah. Was there ever a moment where that switched in your mind, or was that always how it was?
Well, I think I have brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And they're great people.
Yeah.
They are not motivated.
Okay.
They're not motivated like me, for sure.
Right.
And so they use that, probably as
a crutch. Yeah.
I don't believe in that. And I remember in junior high, right? I was always a fighter. Which I'm probably not proud of, but I was always a fighter, right?
That's good. I believe it's good.
So I've never lost, by the way. I'm over 500 now. I've never lost in my life a street fight. But I remember whooping some kid's ass, and I always protected the nerds. So let's get that right. I'd protect the nerdy people, but anyone who thought there was a badass, I would fuck you up. And so I remember beating up a guy who thought he was cool. I was in 7th grade. He's in 8th grade. I remember whooping his ass, and I went in the principal's office. He goes, Ryan, what are you going to be when you grow up? I said, rich. And he goes, okay. And he goes, I will guarantee you'll never make anything of yourself. And I remember that fat fuck, Mr. Kilpack. Yeah. I always thought, fuck that guy. I still hate him.
Yeah.
He's dead now, but he probably died of obesity. He's a piece of shit. But that still to this day, as you can see, that upset me, right?
Yes.
You're not going to tell me I'm not going to do shit.
Yeah.
So that was motivating as hell.
Got it.
To make sure.
Yeah.
And then basically, so fighting stuck with me until once we was even 17, 18, we had fake IDs. We'd go to the bars in Salt Lake. Yeah. All these city kids thought they were tough.
Yeah.
Country boys are way tougher than city boys.
Yeah, true.
And so we'd go to the clubs, pull out the biggest guy. I don't know why we were even going there, but we'd pull him out and say, hey, let's go outside. And we'd fight. We'd win.
Yeah.
But that was that's probably something I'm not proud of, but even that we was always number one.
Yeah.
Well, I was number one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a lost art that we don't teach people to compete. We don't teach people to push through pain anymore. We don't teach people to actually fight